Hello, YouTube. Now, if you've been watching my channel since basically the beginning, the Cadillac, then you've noticed I've had a CB in most of my vehicles. Now, the CB radio is obviously not as popular as it once was. You know, in the 70s, a little bit, early 80s, basically, you could at any point pull out your CB and you'd start talking to someone. I live in Canada. It's not so much the case. When I put the CB in my wife's car, when I asked for a radio check, I did actually get one, which I was kind of surprised by. I am near the freeway. If you're driving on a major freeway, the truckers use CBs, so you're always going to be able to ask for like a weather report or, weather, traffic, maybe there's cops ahead. Even like do you guys know any good places to eat? And honestly, just listening, like truckers have some funny shit to say. So there is still a small use for CBs. You're definitely not going to be like riding through town and see somebody in a nice car or somebody doing something stupid and being able to talk to someone. It's definitely not popular enough for that. What I've always used the CBs is when me and my buddies are going out and we're doing car stuff. Maybe we're doing donuts. Maybe we're drag racing. Maybe we're just going for a cruise, but we want to drive our own car. I'll have my CB. And some of my buddies have had CBs. Even nowadays, I still have a couple buddies that have CBs. But for the most part, I carried portable CB radios, like basically giant walkie-talkies. And I'd give them to my buddies, and then we'd be able to talk while we were driving. These are distracted driving exempt. So you can use a CB while driving. So I'd mostly use them as kind of like a built-in walkie-talkie for your car. If you have car buddies and you like to go out and each drive your own car rather than all pile into one car, this is still 100% something that's worth getting. I believe I have videos where I'm talking on the CB during the video. They'd be old, like they'd be Cadillac generation videos, like the CTS, but no, I've definitely, and like I've had random conversations. I have actually, when I had the Cadillac, I had people being like, hey, Cadillac, do you have your ears on or do you have your radio on? And I've talked to people. The Camaro was a little more common when I had the Camaro and people saw the CB antenna, usually in older cars, usually in, trucks. And I mean, it's very popular in rural Canada to have people, particularly in trucks, put CB antennas on the trucks and not actually install a CB radio, which I think is it's the epitome of being a loser. Like if you were to walk around with like a skateboard, but you can't skateboard, that to me is the equivalent of having a CB antenna on your truck, but not having a CB. But I digress. I'm 3 minutes into a video that probably could have been 2 minutes long. But yeah, so you've probably noticed how I've had a CB in every car, and it's always been the same CB. I always get these Uniden Bearcats Pro 505 XL. They're very good. They're very cheap. They work fine. You can attach a megaphone to them. You've probably noticed a few of my cars I've had megaphones. And what I like about them is the way I do it. I have one CB. This is now my third one, but my first CB was in about 20 different cars. And the reason I was able to put it in 20 different cars is I never wired it directly to the car, because that's a pain in the ass. You got to run wires, you got to hide the wires. So what I always do is I wire a 12-volt plug to the radio, and then you can just plug it into the 12-volt plug, and then you find a place, stick it in the glove box, stick it in wedge it between the seats. Some cars I've put more effort in and actually mounted it. Other cars I've just stuck it, in the map slot behind the seat. For my younger viewers, that slot behind the seat, you've wondered what that's for? That's for a map book. But yeah, so this is really easy. If you've completed the 8th grade, you know how to do this. So red wire, black wire, red wire, black wire. What you're gonna do is you probably want to strip a little more wire, which there's wire strippers that you can take, and you just pinch it and then pull the red bit off, or you can just cut it with a knife. And then you see these holes. You stick it in the hole, and then it comes out in the middle there. see that hole there if it focuses. And then just wrap it around the metal. And then get it in nice tight, wrap it around, and then you get electrical tape, which is a black, plasticky kind of tape. Wrap it all up in electrical tape, and boom, there you go. Literally just stick it in. And literally that would be enough, but you're going to do it properly, and you're going to get a nice, solid, firm connection. Another way is you could just stick that in the one hole and then crimp it, which is you crush it down on the wire so it holds the wire in place. I don't do that because that's kind of permanent. Maybe I'm going to need this plug for something else. So I'll get a longer wire and I'll wrap the wire around the metal. And that way, if I want to use this plug for something else, or maybe the CB breaks and I don't want to throw the plug out, then you can just unwrap it and keep using it. Versus if you stick it in there and you crimp it, that's the proper way to do it. But it's an absolute pain in the ass to uncrimp one of these things.